Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, and our show today is the Mallorca Connection. We are going to have the pleasure of hearing from the star of our show, Mr. Roland Friedl. He's going to walk us through how to write a business plan. So I'm excited to welcome him. First, I just want to announce that this show is brought to you in part by one of our sponsors, and it's Diane Floyd Bain, the author of Harry the Camel and so many more wonderful works for children and for young adults. We'll be hearing more from Diane just at the end of our program. Let's welcome Mr. Roland Friedl, who is somewhere in his motorhome, somewhere in Europe. Hello.
Hello, Jacalyn. Great to see you again.
Thank you. Nice to see you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love that color that you're wearing, by the way, that yellow. It's an orange yellow. Looks very nice, bright.
Yeah, it's a holy, actually orange and yellow is a holy color. Yeah, it is.
It makes me smile.
In Hinduism and in Buddhism, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. And backstage, you taught me a few other things about some of the things I'm doing. You are a wealth of knowledge. You have so much experience. You've been mentoring me in many ways, and I know that you're working with clients all over the world. Tell us, before we get into the crux of our topic today, how it is that you do help people, what that work is.
Well, most of the work I'm doing with clients is in the corporate world. I help my clients to optimize their processes, communication processes, sales processes, or the key processes that are important in their company. That's one point. And the other point, is to support them in developing their stuff. And there we focus on leadership development. So we do a lot of leadership trainings, workshops, one-to-one coachings. And the second pillar is sales. So we optimize the sales processes, the sales strategy. We train the salespeople, the sales management. That's what we most of the time do.
Thank you, Roland. And I know that many times, because I've experienced this myself, many times when someone's been in business for a long time, that doesn't mean that they had a business plan or that they had a marketing plan or they even know what they're doing, but they're getting sales. And because they're getting sales, then they think to themselves, okay, I have it all figured out. And then one day it's almost like the rug gets pulled out from underneath them. Why is it important to have a business plan and a marketing plan? And we'll talk about the marketing plan another time.
Yeah, the business plan, I personally believe it's the base. It's absolutely the basis of a successful startup business, because it helps you to really to write clearly down your business idea. And also it's very important for controlling your finances, and also important to convince, if necessary, your financial backers like banks, investors. So you need a business plan. And when you have a business plan, a business plan is your goals, your vision, your strategy, is everything included. And when you work after your business plan and you follow the steps, you follow the structures, you can be successful. As you mentioned before, Jacalyn, you also can start without a business plan, and maybe you are lucky and you're successful. But the question is it duplicable what you're doing? And the most important thing in business, what I learned, is it duplicable, because when you had one client and you know exactly how you found this client, you can duplicate it. So you can have 10 clients, you can have hundreds and thousands. So you need a structure that is duplicable. So and whoever joins your company in the business when you're growing, knows exactly the business plan, knows exactly the strategies, and what's all involved. And this means it's duplicable, and so you can grow and grow and grow. But otherwise, it's a happy. You're just happy and lucky that it's working. But the question is always: is it duplicable, and is it happening because you had a plan, you had a strategy, you did an action, and that's why it worked, and not because there have been lucky circumstances. Because business is hard, business is getting harder, there's more and more condition, and I wouldn't build up a business on lucky circumstances, not at all.
That's such a good point. And Roland, I shared with you that I now have 5 brands and I've got 2 businesses. And so some of the brands are assets under the existing business. And I don't have a business plan for all the brands. So I happened to be over on Clubhouse, the Clubhouse app, and someone was talking about this on Sunday. And long story short, this person suggested using ChatGPT to come together with a business plan. So I did that. It took, I don't know, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. And I was talking to you about that backstage. What are the pros and cons about using ChatGPT, and would you?
Well, I use it too, but I only use it to get, for example, when I'm writing a blog or writing something, just to give me a structure. I only use it for some research and giving me a certain structure when I have a certain topic. So when you use ChatGPT for a business plan, it gives you a structure, but you have to fill in your personality, your business idea, your market, your competitors, your financial plan, and so on and so on. So it gives you a structure that's nice to use it, yes, but the work has still to be done.
I love that. So it's not that it has to be either or. There can be an intersection there, and the ChatGPT is the foundation, the structure, and then from there you build. So let's say we go over to the ChatGPT. What's the next step?
Well, first, when you get, I don't know what ChatGPT is suggesting for a business plan, but a business plan should have a certain structure and certain topics that should be involved that are important. But before we start on that, as I said, it's important to have fun. I strongly believe that. And I also believe that it's also necessary for small companies. It doesn't matter what scale, what size your company had. Even if you're a one-person company, if you're a small startup, use a business plan. It gives you a good guidance, and you could also use it, as I said, if you need money from your bank or from investor. But what is very important in the beginning is that you avoid incomprehensible specialist terms. So it should be an inspiration. A business plan should be an inspiration that when somebody's reading your business plan, like a bank, like an investor, and so on. So it should be an inspiration. And you should also write about the topics that are important for presenting your business idea, and don't wander from the point. So don't go away from the point. So it's all about your business idea. And this relates to all sections of the business. So only write about what is necessary. Don't use key points, bullet points. Really write in full sentences, and be inspiring. Be inspiring. It must inspire yourself first of all when you read it, but it must or should inspire people who get involved in your business. As I said in the beginning, maybe potential investors, the bank that when you need money, employees you want to hire, especially on a management base. So. And what also important, I think, what is the most difficult part for many people who are not used to write a business plan, because they always have been employees, and maybe as an employee in the corporate world, you haven't been in controlling or in finance. Is the core element of a business plan is the liquidity plan. So the rest is just theory, but you need a liquidity plan, and yeah, write it as precise as possible, meaning keep it realistic. And try to avoid contradictions. So that's the beginning of a business plan. And we have a saying in German, I don't know how to translate in English: fine feathers make fine birds. So meaning, take it seriously, a business plan. It's your business. I mean, take it really seriously, writing down a business plan, because your business plan is, I strongly believe, is also your personal business card, and it speaks of your personality. Yeah, how precise you are, how clear you are in writing down your ideas, how clear you are, how precise you are in your liquidity plan and financial plan and so on. So that's very important in the beginning.
Roland, you're mentioning, is it a liquidity plan? Is that what you're saying? If you
A
decide
liquidity
to,
plan, yeah, you need one, of course. Yeah.
Can you explain to our audience what that is?
We will come later if it's okay for you.
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, perfect. Okay, so you've outlined the why and the importance. So what's the format for a business plan?
Well, it's written, first of all, as I said, it's written. And I strongly believe it shouldn't have less than 6 to 8 pages. Yeah, the more precise you are, the better it is. So really make a good business plan. Sorry. And it should be a certain structure. Have a good cover too. On the cover, maybe you have your logo. If you already have a logo, you present yourself and your co-founders. And then you should have, I believe it should have nine steps inside. First of all, start with a summary. I will talk later in detail what the summary. Secondly, a profile of yourself as a founder or as a founder team. When you have 1, 2, 3 other people who start with you in the business, a profile of your person and the other team members. Third is the business idea, how to describe your business idea. Then the next step, very, very important, is market. Hopefully you have done market research, so describe market and competitors, so both market and competition. So what is the chances in the market, how much coverage you can get, what's going on in the market analysis, what is your target market, and is there competition, who is there, and so on, what are their market shares, the coverage, etc. Then number 5 is also corporate formalities. So what kind of company you're starting, where you're sitting, and so on. Number 6 is having actually a strategy of marketing. It's very important how you're going to market your idea. Let's have a good clear strategy. This is especially very interesting besides marketing competition for potential investors in the bank. The bank does want to know, okay, what is your strategy to get to know in the market, because the market is global. There's a lot of chances, but there's a lot of competitors. So do you position yourself clearly? Do you have a clear strategy? Then, as I said, a liquidity plan, or you call it a financial plan. So you need a financial plan and a liquidity plan, because it's all about, do you have cash? How's your cash flow to get your bills paid? And number 8, chance and risk, or some call it a SWOT analysis. So what are your strengths? What is your weakness? So chance and risk. And last but not least, number 9 is to have an appendix, an annex, where you have your financial and liquidity plan, maybe some certifications that you need or are good to show that you have skills, that you're a specialist in your field, and so on. So these are more or less, so I would say 9 points that you should consider and write it down in detail. We can discuss it now.
Thank you, Roland. And what I'm wondering is this something that we sit down at our desk and we do by ourselves and then follow point by point, or do we need to get someone's input as to whether or not we're on the right track?
I mean, as I said before, when you have been working in the corporate world before, and you have an expertise on this because you have been in charge for writing a business plan or a financial plan or a strategy, marketing strategy, whatever, so you know part of it, of course you can do it by yourself. But it is very helpful that you have a person, maybe a mentor, who is successful in his or her business area, business field, and can have a look in your business plan if it's and ask you question if it's reasonable, if it's working, and stuff like that. It's helpful to have a third person, a skilled person with experience to help you. Yes, but at the end you have to write it down yourself. It's so important that you write it in your own words, but you need somebody who is experienced to give you feedback. Of course, it's helpful.
Feedback is so important, and people are not always open to the feedback because they feel like they know everything that they need to know. So can someone work with you, for example, to help them create the business plan, or do you come in after it's already written, or both?
A good question. Sometimes people come from the beginning because they say, okay, I need help. I need somebody help, especially those people who start a new business and they need or they want to engage investors, or they want money from the bank. They are very, very looking for, they have a very professional and a very good business plan. Yes, absolutely, they come. Some come because they get a feedback of a potential investor or a bank that said, "Oh, this is not a good business plan." So they said, "Oh shit, what am I doing? Maybe I'm looking for an expert." So there are different starting points where people come.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. So what's the next step?
Okay, so when you have the structure, then write down. First of all, start with the summary. So the summary is there to have as I said, to engage the reader in the beginning. Yeah, it's like when I have a good book. I mean, on the first page, you decide if you continue with at least myself, there's so many books on the market. On the first page or in the first paragraph, I decide if I continue reading or not. Is this worth it? Does it get my attention or not? Does it engage me or inspire me or take my whatever? So this is the summary. It's all about to arouse the reader's interest. And it shouldn't be longer than a one-pager. Really, a one-pager, it's a summary. Yeah, I always say, actually, the parallel in business is when you write a proposal to a company, it's always have in the beginning a so-called executive summary, means the decision maker who is not involved in the details, but he or she gets an overview about your proposal, why it's helpful to hire you or to buy your service and products or products. So it's a summary in the beginning is to have a nice overview. And what it contains, presenting in a short, as I say, in a one-pager, your business shortly, this and describes you to give you actually a short overview about the most important points in your business. And yeah, and I think in the summary, you also should be very aware that you really present the uniqueness of your business idea, just already in the beginning, to engage a potential reader, like an investor or whatever. That's the first part.
Thank you. I really like how you brought up that part. So at some point, it may make sense to bring in some outside interests to be partners or active partners, silent partners, or just investors.
Yeah. And that's a very difficult part because what I train people, for example, in sales, we call it an elevator pitch. So when you meet somebody in the elevator, you have a few seconds. Can you explain in a short what you're doing? Yeah, and it's the same with the summary of the. Can you shortly and being precise and clear? What is your business idea? Not coming from here and from there. And this means that you're not clear about your business opportunity, on your business idea. So the summary shows exactly if you are very, very clear. That's so important, and it's a difficult part, to be honest. It's a difficult part.
Yeah. It's sure. If people have difficulty with the elevator pitch, we actually had a show on a woman's prerogative and just putting our panelists on the spot. So is that as equally important as the business plan? More important, the elevator pitch?
Well, it's part of it. It's part of it. But you always need an elevator pitch, because when you meet somebody, you have to know exactly with 1-2 phrases what you're doing. And it is, I don't know who it was. It was a very famous actor. I guess it was Sir Peter Ustinov. And he said, it has a very strong beginning and a very strong end, and in between, as less as possible. So it's all about engaging people and inspiring people. And this is in a phrase, in a statement, in a short one, or it can also be a provocative question. It can also be. But it has to be very short and precise. And that's not easy. That's not easy.
Yeah. I'm just thinking now, for anyone out there who's watching or listening, that this is really critically important. So I'd also like to suggest that people listen fully as opposed to taking notes. You can always watch it later, because sometimes you might miss something in the direction, because this is what you're sharing today is something you would get paid for.
Yes. $1,000 an hour, 1,000 euros an hour.
So if you're out there, whether it's the live or the replay, please just listen, and I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Yeah, and the next part is, as I said, is describe shortly yourself when you start as a one-person company, or your team members, meaning in this part, in the second part, you present yourself, especially your qualifications, okay, of being a businessman or businesswoman, explaining shortly your professional skills, your background skills, your education, your certification you have, yeah, actually it shows up how you obtained your skills, maybe on a university, or you did extra training, or you joined whatever. And importantly, relevant experiences are convincing. Okay, that's important. So I give a short story. 1.5 years ago, a very good friend of mine came to me in Mallorca when I was still living there and said, "Hey, I'm looking for a sales director for the DACH region." DACH region means Germany, Austria, Switzerland, for the German-speaking country. A salesperson for a new IT company. And I thought he wants somebody from my network, so I brought him somebody, but it was expensive. And afterwards, he kept saying, "No, Roland, I was thinking about you." So I was thinking about it. I said, "Why not?" But actually, they couldn't pay me. But anyway, so I was writing the first time in my life because one of the other owners wanted a CV, a curriculum vitae for me. And I never used a CV in my life, never, ever, because always people came to me, they hired me in the corporate world, they hired me as a consultant. So I never needed a CV. But anyway, so I was sitting down writing a CV. I asked a friend of mine, what's the state of the art, so they have a nice structure, and then writing down all my jobs. And I was sitting down with my previous girlfriend, and about my experience. And the funny thing is, we came across that I did 40, can you imagine that, Jackie? 40, sorry, more than 50 different paid jobs in different areas, 15 different areas that I get paid, from modeling, like I was a model, I was a security guard, I was a coach, I was working as a waiter, and so 50 different jobs I got paid. I was writing as a reader, so different stuff. And then it was the question, what is relevant for this specific job description? So what I'm talking about it, only write down what is relevant for this precise business. Okay, so when you start, I don't know, whatever it is, a financial company, and if you're a yoga teacher, you have a yoga teacher certification, it's nice, but it's not relevant. Okay, that's what I want to say. Okay, so explain your professional skills then and show how you obtained them, but only relevant one. Because maybe you can also describe when you have a background in the corporate world. What was your former jobs when it's relevant for this business idea? So hard skills are important, but also look at soft skills. They're also important too. So when you have, for example, when you're starting a business, it's also good when you have soft skills like leading people, engaging people, inspiring people, because when you want to grow, you want to hire people, you want to engage them, you want to inspire them, so stuff like that. So the business know-how is required for, actually, yes, for creating a business plan. And yeah, be very precise on that. On your personal stuff, but it has to be relevant. That's important for the reader. Any question on that, Dr. Jacalyn?
No, I'm following along. It's great.
Okay. So, and number 3, the next step is the business idea itself. And actually, in this chapter, it's all about presenting your offer to the world, to the market, whatever your targeted market is. So you're presenting here, and it's important that the reader, in this chapter, the reader should be convinced that your business is competitive. Okay, it's not only about the business idea, but really be so sharp and clear what is your, some people call it the USP, the unique selling proposition. So why you, and why are you competitive? That's also important. Not the idea itself, yeah, it's cool, writing down your idea, but also why it is competitive, why there is a market, and why people will buy it, or why people need your idea, or whatever. So what is important is, what I want to say is, try to put your business aims into, what I call it, in a nutshell, and concentrate on your main competences. So don't be too broad. I always when I coach people in business is say, okay, be very clear about your target group, because when you want to hit everyone, you lose everyone. So be very clear about your target group. When you're successful, you can broaden your target group in your market, of course, but be very precise in the beginning. Be very clear. What is your nutshell? Where are you competitive? Where are you different than the other one? Why are you making a difference for this certain targeted group? And yeah, because when you're not very specific, I guess the quality will suffer. That's I would say, what I think. Yeah, and what is also important in this chapter in the business idea, that you are able to highlight the customer benefits out of your products, out of your service. Okay, so highlight also the benefits. So think about from a customer's point of view, what are the benefits for them that you want to create. And as I said in the beginning, it must be clear that you're competitive, meaning describe the difference between your business idea and those who are already in the market, meaning your competitors. So business idea, it's presenting, I just repeated, it's presenting your offer. Your reader should be convinced that your business is competitive. So be clear about your nutshell, your targeted market. As I said, less is more, meaning be very precise in your target market in the beginning. Don't try to hit everyone. You will lose everyone. Describe also the benefits for a customer and describe the difference to your competitors on the market. Hopefully you have done some market research in the beginning. Yeah, that's the business plan. This was this the business idea number 3 on your business plan. Any questions here, Dr. Chaka?
Yes, I do have a question. How much time and money should be spent on research?
As much time as is necessary to get a profound idea if your idea is working or not. Because sometimes we have a very clever idea, but it's not working. Or sometimes timing is not perfect. You're too late or you're too early in the market, because timing is also the market research is critical. Absolutely. Meaning, the more you invest in your business, or the more investors are needed, the clearer and the more precise is your marketing research plan. The more money you risk, and you want your money back, the better prepared you should be, of course.
So I just want to run something by you. I know you have some more points to go through, but for a real world example, there are, I don't even know how many authors in the world, right? And you're soon to be an author, a published author. I'm a published author, read. I mean, so many of our team members, and my genre is children's books. And how many children's books are there? A zillion. And so what I'm working towards is a brand, The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella. I've got a website, I've got merchandise, and it's how do I differentiate myself from everybody else who's out there? And the way I look at it is that they're tied to an initiative, which is learning how to listen at an elevated level. And there's courses, et cetera, et cetera. So how would I determine who my competition is just in terms of children's books and the messaging? That's just a high level question.
Well, for example, you can Google children's book teaching listening.
Okay.
Just Google. Whatever in Google. Yeah? Whatever you're looking for, ask Dr. Google or whatever tool you're using, but do as much research as possible. There are many websites where sometimes you have to pay for it to get answers. Of course, I know, especially when you're in a technology background, because I consult a lot of technology companies like Xerox, OpenDex, and other businesses. So sometimes you have to pay for that, because there are companies like Gartner who do a lot of research on the market. So they're specialist companies doing research, and you have to pay for them. You have to have a membership or something like that. But again, the more money you have to invest, the more money you need, the more precise be about bringing up your business. And as you know, you mentioned author, and when you're writing a book, it's nice because you write it, you love it. If it's working, it's good. If it's not working, it's not a huge investment. Of course, it's a time investment, but you're not losing a hell of money when nobody's buying the books. It's a different approach. But it also makes sense, man. I learned it from Red, by the way, and thanks, Red, for teaching me that, is to do a lot of research about the cover of the book. So in the field I'm publishing, it's a business book, it's a sales book, it's innovation. So looking about competitors, what is their strategy? How does the cover look? Do they use graphs and stuff like that? And copy and model what they are doing. And that's also market research. And you see the figures, how much they sell. And when they sell their books, you know there's a market. When there's a lot of competition, there's a market. So if there's no competition, you can be luckily, because you really have a new idea. But if there's competition in the market, it means there's a market. When the more companies in the field, or the more writers in the field, there's a market. So it's good. So find your niche.
I like it. Thank you. That was really helpful.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's it, number 3. So number 4 on your business plan is marketing competitions. I already mentioned a little bit. So before setting up your business, you need to obtain, as I said, detailed information about your target group. So be very precise in your target group. Also, when you build up a website, that's why I love the company I'm working with, Sam, is because the first thing is, because I was saying, okay, what are you using? Photos, pictures, videos, what kind of colors? And he said, Roland, depending. I said, depending on what? What? Depending on the person who is looking for you, the person who's Googling your website. So on your target group, very important. Who is your target group? So find all the information that is needed for your target group and about their potential or possible demand. Of course, is there demand? Yes or no? And so, as I mentioned before, there are services on the market. Sometimes you have to pay for them, but it's and as I said before, when you invest a hell of money, it makes sense to make an investment in professional service. For example, as I said, when you're working in technology, gardeners and others are doing very, very good service. I highly recommend them. So surveys are very possible to calculate the demand. That's very, very important. And secondly, don't underestimate your competitors because they're already on the market. They have experience, they have some advantage. Maybe they're a year advantage, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, whatever. So they have more experience than you. They know the market better, the circumstances. They know the customers already. So try to obtain as much information that you can get from competitors and about their products, pricing, what is their marketing strategies, how they get customers, what they are doing to retain customers, what are their challenges, why they are losing customers, and everything like that. You can also go to special, as I said, you can Google it, but I guess in every country you have chamber of commerce. When you're a member there, you get information from them. Also calculate the competitors in proportion to the potential clients. How many market shares do they have? When you have a business that needs a location like a restaurant or a barber shop or whatever it is, look in the area before. How many competitors? Are there competitors? Yes. If there are competitors, it means it's a good spot. If there is none at all, it's maybe that's the first business in this city that you're opening that never had before, or it's not a good spot to open a business there. So especially when you rent or buy even a property for your business, be very clear in the beginning because changing location is very, very expensive. Okay. So as I said, when you open a shop, a bar, whatever it is, your location, then it's very, very important. Then you do a good market research in the area and also have a look at your competitors. Yeah. That's all about marketing in competition. In short, it's much more. It's very important, but in short.
I know marketing can be a huge investment, and it's something that you have to be on top of all the time. And for books, for example, marketing in and of itself, a quick story that I don't think I shared with you, but I went to a party for the first time in a couple of years, and I brought my books with me. I wasn't talking to anybody. I was sitting by myself in the back room. Anyway, somebody came over to talk to me, and this couple has children and grandchildren. I told them about my books. I took the books out, and she bought them right away, right there, paid cash, put it in my purse. And she said, "What are you doing to market these?" And I said, "Nothing." And she said, "This is $1 million brand." I said, "How do you know?" She said, "I was a teacher, an educator. I'm a parent. I'm a grandparent." She said, "You have something here, and I can't believe you're not marketing it." And I said, "No, I don't even know what to do with it." So that's what started me thinking. I'm sure there's other people out there like me as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's important. So in the beginning, it doesn't matter how small you start. It's good to be prepared and do good marketing. Absolutely. Marketing is everything.
It kind of was like an awakening for me that there's a door that I can walk through. So I'm excited. So keep going. Thank you.
Sounds good. Yes, absolutely. Marketing. So next step is corporate formalities. This means that in this is a short chapter, but you write down and make clear which legal status you choose for your business. If it's a single person business, if it's a shareholder business or a limited or company, a limited corporation, because this impacts especially your taxations and also your liability. Okay, so be clear what kind of corporate legal status you're choosing. It's also very important. So this is a small part, but also a very important part in your business plan. Then strategy of marketing. As we mentioned in the beginning, marketing and distribution is a very complex topic, to be honest. It's a science for itself, and it also refers to a wider range of different aspects. Yeah. And in this section, you should highlight the strategy you want to use for your startup. So the quality strategy, meaning beating the products of your competitors, is a crucial element. How do you want to present, for example, your products and your services? Describe, as I said in the beginning, also in the summary, describe the customer benefit of your products and services. This is the quality strategy. Then you have a price strategy. That is also important when it comes to developing and presenting your business. Price plays a dominant role, of course. Don't be too cheap and don't be too high. But I always say most people are too cheap. Especially, I coach a lot of coaches and therapists because I'm very involved in the men's work, and I started this German platform, and 23 or 24 men approached to me and want to contribute in the podcast to spread the message of what they're delivering to the men's. And most of them have no idea about marketing and their prices. And I told them, most of them, you're too cheap. You're too cheap. Yeah. Okay. So pricing is very important. Pricing strategy. Don't be too cheap. That's not good. Okay. So, and you need to decide between the price segments, meaning a high priced, a low priced, and a threshold segment, depending what you're doing. And also in this area, in the price strategy, of course, be aware of cost coverage. So when especially people who are starting, for example, online shops on Amazon or other platforms, they look at the selling price, but be aware of what you're buying for the product, what are your costs, your distribution costs, or commission you have to pay on platforms, stuff like that. So be aware of cost coverage and competitiveness. So don't be too high to be competitive, but don't be too low, and meaning you cannot cover your costs. Okay, both is critical. Then you need a distribution strategy, meaning you have to create a distribution concept which is adapted to your product and service, and also creates I would call it empathy amongst your target group. So it must fit to your target group. So when your target group is clear, have a look how they purchase a product. Is it online? Is it face-to-face? If they want to go to a shop, stuff like that. Okay, so it has to be it has to fit to your target group. Especially when your group is elder people who not used the internet, maybe an online shop is not a good strategy, for example. Yeah, stuff like that. So your distribution strategy has to be aligned to your target group. And also think about alternative concept. Maybe there are alternative concepts coming up on the market with new distribution approaches. Look at them, but they always should be adapted to changing customer requirements or to changing marketing conditions. For example, like in the pandemic in 2020, 2021, nobody was going to shop. It was helpful for people to have an online opportunity, an online shop and stuff like that, or online consulting or whatever. Okay, so distribution strategy is important. And last but not least, of course, the marketing strategy itself that elucidates your marketing plans. And to be honest, don't limit yourself on classic marketing channels like internet and personal cards. And you hire a specialist if required. If you have no experience in marketing strategy, please hire a professional. It costs money, but it's just an investment. It's an investment in a business. And I can tell from my own experience, it makes much more fun to avoid mistakes. Obviously, we learn from mistakes, yes, but in marketing strategy, a mistake can be very expensive and it can ruin your business before it even started. So if you're not familiar with marketing strategy, I highly suggest a marketing specialist. Yeah. Any questions here?
When you say hire a market strategist, is that something that somebody can do part-time?
Yeah, absolutely. Depending on the size of your business scale and what you're doing. Actually, I'm just with Munir together. I'm just in a conversation with a company who wants to start in Europe. They're coming from Middle East, starting in Europe, and they're thinking about hiring me and pay me by hours, per days, or maybe it's cheaper for them to hire me for 6 months and pay me a monthly plan. It depends on how fast they want to you want to penetrate the market and what should be involved in the marketing strategy. Yeah, it can be just somebody who really mentors you or coaches you, maybe an hours a week. It can be more. Depending on the business, it's depending on the industry, depending how fast you want to penetrate the market, and of course how much money you have to start. Of course.
And a question I have for you about the money, because this comes up quite often on some of our other shows. If, let's say, the person wants to grow their business and there's a lot of opportunities and they evaluate them, maybe they meet with coaches, mentors, etc., and it makes sense to go in a certain direction, and the business owner doesn't have huge piles of money sitting around, so they could take the money they might have earmarked for something else and use it for this project. What I'm finding out is many business owners will just do nothing because they're coming from a position of fear, and they think, okay, I've got this cash, I'm going to keep the cash, as opposed to take a chance of losing it to put it onto this way to grow my business. What would you suggest in that regard?
Well, first of all, there's more money on the market than good ideas. So the most important thing is the good business idea, not the money. Because I know a lot of people who have a lot of money, bad ideas, and they fail. So money doesn't save you. Okay, it's about the business idea. And when your business idea is good, you will get money from a bank or from investors, crowdfunding, whatever it is. So the business idea is very important. Don't care about the money. People are always thinking about money. It's you have a good business idea, a good business plan, meaning an inspiring business plan that is precise, that is clear, and then you will get the money. And then it's the question, if you bring a partner in who has the money, or do you do crowdfunding, or whatever it is. But I strongly believe it's all about the business idea, and the money will come. And you need money, of course, and especially when you have an idea when you work in IT, like building up a platform or whatever you want to do, you need a hell of money, and you have to be very fast, because when you start slowly and somebody grabs your idea, they steal it. So you have to be very fast. You have to create momentum, and you will need money. So when you have a good business idea, and you want to grow fast, go for crowdfunding, look for investors. And when you have a good idea with a good business plan, you will find investors. And of course, you give away part of your business. Yeah, sure, but you cannot have everything.
It's very true. Thank you for sharing that. And I think also, when you have done your work and your research and you feel strongly about something, knowing that, hey, maybe it won't work out, but I'll learn something from it, it's easier to make a commitment to put the money out. So what I mean by that is, there are a number of things that I have been doing that I don't know that there'll be an immediate return, but it's part of my strategy. And I feel like I need to put the money in these places based on what other people ahead of me have been doing. But when I talk to some of my peers, they're more in a place of, I'm just going to keep the money here and stay where I am now. I don't want to stay where I am. I don't.
Well, first of all, yeah, that's the reason why we don't have so many entrepreneurs, because people have fears. That's normal. But the point is, when you start a business and you're not willing to invest your money, meaning you don't believe in your business, why should an investor believe in your business, or a customer? It all starts with you. It's full in. It's all in. It's all about all in. Of course, you have to be aware about risk. When you're a single person, go. When you're responsible for family, small kids and stuff like that, you cannot go on high risk, for sure. That's no doubt. But if you're not willing to invest your own money, means you're not believing in your own business. And when you don't believe in your own business, please stay away from it. Stay away from it.
Exactly, because if you don't believe in it, who's going to believe in it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Okay, so 3 more. Shortly, you need a financial plan, meaning a financial plan which states the financial situation of your company. and forms also the key elements of your business plan. And so the financial plan, do we have money? Yes or no? How much money is needed? What kind of investments are you doing? Stuff like that. So the financial plans. And the liquidity plan this is one of the most important parts of your financial plan, because the liquidity plan presents all private and business income and expenses on the first year monthly. Okay, you have to show exactly the first year, month for month, what is your private and your business income, so you make sure that you have cash. Yeah. And in the second or third year, it needs to be accomplished annually, of course. And by means of this liquidity plan, you can calculate when your business starts to be in the black figures, meaning when it's break even, when it's the critical point, or we call it break even. Okay. And furthermore, I think it is a continuous controlling instrument of a liquidity plan by comparing your target and your actual figures, so you can react on time to negative developments and really change direction when it's possible and adapt it. Okay, so financial plan, liquidity plan are very, very, very important. Some people have a financial plan, most people don't have a liquidity plan, but it's very, very important. And actually, a friend of mine, I want to name him, he started a cafe, and never been in this business before, had a good idea, moved to a city, 400 kilometers away, not knowing anyone, finding a spot with somebody close to the coffee. He reopened it, and now he said, oh, fuck, no market research, no liquidity plan, now overwhelmed. So that before beginning. Yeah. Also, financial plan, liquidity plan, you have to be very precise. And I guess most people need a professional consulting on that, because most people have not any experience on that. And we don't learn it in school at all. So if you're not working as a controller, or you have been in the corporate world, a chief of finance officer, stuff like that, you should really recommend hire a professional expert. And maybe the coaching just needs 1 or 2 hours, but it's about staying alive or die early. Okay, that's very important. So the next point is chance and risk. So be aware about chances and risks. So meaning, what does it mean when you do this on the short term and long term? What does it mean when you don't do this on the short and long term? So because starting a company is not only an opportunity, it's also a risk. So therefore, it's important to scan the risks for your business idea and develop an action plan for different cases. And to be honest, what I always suggest is, when you calculate in your business plan, in your financial plan, the proposed the assumptions, or how many sales you're making, always do 20% less. And when you talk about costs and expensive, always add 20% as plus, and then you are safe. Most people say, okay, sales like this, costs like this, and then there's a huge gap, and when it's not working, you really go to hell. So I always say, when you calculate your sales and your profit, always say 20%, 25% less, that you're safe. And then when you also calculate your expenses, your costs, say 20-25% plus, and then you're in a good range. That's very, very important. So yeah, think about worst case and best case scenario. That's what I mean by this. And to get a better overview about the main risk in your business, and also ask other business owners in your area. So last time you listen to the appendix and the annex, as I said, please add, maybe most people are using Excel, financial liquidity plan, maybe your CV, your curriculum vitae, your certifications that are relevant for this business when you have them, maybe preliminary contracts with potential customers when you already have them. So people said, yeah, I'm gonna start. Yeah, when you did some research on people, and you're asking potential clients, and somebody says, yes, when you start, I'm your client. So when you have preliminary contracts, and also if you have references, pilot customers, references, stuff like that, add this too on your business plan. Yeah, hell of work, but it's worth to invest the time and maybe money when you need a specialist to help you get feedback. Yeah, that's more or less.
That was really helpful. I do have another question, which is about the references. I know that references are extremely important, and recently added to our survey tool that after a guest comes on to USA Global TV and Radio, they get a survey. And we've had pretty good return of the surveys. And of course, that's an opportunity to convert people to a sale, to bring them onto the team. So what I added was, will you give a testimonial that we can use on social media? And just added it, the last two people, and they both said yes. So that didn't cost any money.
Yes.
That was.
And by the way, sorry, you asked me to, and I forgot it.
Oh, that's okay. And these were guests. These were guests from the show,
okay,
members. But so, what are your thoughts about just going and asking your clients for a testimonial? And if they say yes, what is the best way to capture that? Is it something that people can read in a graphic? Is it a video? What would you suggest?
Well, at least a written form, and you can add it to your website. Maybe not the whole letter they're writing, maybe the bullet points, why they love your services, why they are happy, why they got a benefit out of your service. That's one point. I think what is very good, because it really triggers the emotions of your other potential customers if you have a video, because in a video you can transport visual, auditive, edited, anything in. So when you do short videos, actually right now I'm coaching an architect in Vienna, a huge architect office, and one of the strategies is doing videos with happy customers. Yeah, and showing the building that they created, showing the building, and also interview the user of this building. And yeah, videos are it's a cool form, absolutely, but it's a hell of work for sure. And please do it professionally. It requires investment again, but references are very helpful, especially when you're targeting your market with a new product that people are not used to it. References are very helpful, especially when you target with maybe your product is already existing on the market, but you're targeting a new target group that never used the product before, so they have no experience and stuff like that. Then references are very helpful. So when you have a new product and or a new targeted group, references are very helpful to build up trust and confidence.
Thank you, Roland. I have to just say that my eyes just flew open. My eyelashes stayed on, thank goodness. I'm thinking, why wouldn't I take those testimonials and put them on the website? I never even thought of that. So it just goes to show you that as a business owner, we can be just so in it, we can't see the big picture sometimes.
Absolutely. No, references are very helpful, of course.
Yeah, that's why it's great to work with someone like you who can really get the thought process going. So thank you again. I know I've kept you here over time, but we're meeting afterwards, so it seemed okay. What would you like to leave our audience with in terms of building a business plan and reaching out to you to help them do it?
Well, when you think about starting a business and you want to really do it on a professional base, and you really want to avoid mistakes. You're always doing mistakes. It's all about learning experience, no doubt. But you can avoid mistakes that can cost you a hell of money or the whole business idea. So I highly suggest invest in a professional consultant or coach on that. And if you say, well, I don't have the money, maybe you can make an offer and say, okay, when it's running, I pay you more, or maybe I give you a certain percentage of my company, whatever. There are different business models, but really don't make the mistakes that many others do, because we know that 95% of all businesses don't survive the first 3 years. And hopefully you're not one of them. So hopefully you're one of the survivors, and not only surviving, but growing and making a difference in your customers' world. So I highly recommend start professional with professional help. And because many people have a good idea, they have a good intention, they have a good work skill, and then they said, no, I don't do that, I make it by myself. Not a good strategy, believe me. I made the same mistakes in the beginning, and it cost me a hell of money. Believe me, guys, it cost me a hell of money. I learned a lot of it, but it was a lot of pain. And I started my businesses 40 years ago. There was no internet, there was no global market. Now you're working in a global market. So when you go online, everybody knows about you. And when you're not fast enough and clever enough, maybe somebody else is copying you who is cleverer or has more money or has more experience, whatever. So be aware of it. When you start very good. and look for professional advice. And maybe you have to give away a certain percentage of company. Who cares? I mean, it's better to make a 50% of a million than 100% of zero.
So true. Roland, what I want to add to that is, and this is just my opinion, I'll be completely in left field, but I've watched a number of Shark Tank episodes. I think it's Dragon's Den, other parts of the world. And people wait to get on this show. I don't know what the amount of time is, but it's a certain amount of time that they wait to actually get on the carpet before these investors. And I imagine that they've had to make some sacrifices, that there's been some expense there, and they get in front of them and they go through the whole pitch. And one of the sharks will make an offer that isn't exactly in alignment with the person's, what their offer, what they wanted it to be, but they'll still have primary ownership and they'll say no. And I think to myself, why are you even there? Like, what is so if it's a crazy offer where they're going to take over your business, or maybe they're going to buy you out, that's one thing. But if you're offering 10% and they want 15% and you say no, I think to myself, why did you bother going? Doesn't make any sense.
No, not at all. And you know, at the end, these people are not able to be team players. So it's very important when you run a company, be able to be a team player and trust your stuff. I mean, when you don't trust your investor, how are you going to trust your stuff? Yeah,
exactly. And, you know, something I think would be great for another episode is that sometimes, at least this is what I've seen on the Shark Tank show, is that people are so emotionally involved with their brand and their business that it's like it's their baby. And they say that this is my baby, but it's also a business, and the business has value, and it has a perception of value. And so even though it means everything to you, it might not mean anything to anyone else. And you have to be open to feedback and to mentoring and coaching, or just stay at home.
Absolutely. And as we always say, you know, the worm is for the fish and not for the fisherman.
I never heard of that.
Yeah. I had it many times that people tell me about their business idea, or how good it is, how they love it, or what they don't like. And I say, it's not about you. It's not about your targeted group. It's not about you. Not at all. It's about your customers who are going to pay you. So that's what we say. The worm is for the fish, not for the fisherman.
Excellent. Thank you so much. It's been a great show, Roland. How can people get in touch with you? And again, are you taking on new clients, or what's your situation there?
We are taking new clients who are committed, because as I say, myself and my team, we are 100% committed. When you're 100% committed and we have 200% of commitment, yeah, we take clients, but only clients who are really committed. That's for me the most important thing. We don't have the time to play around. So when somebody is really committed, when I say, okay, I want to go for it, I want to make a difference, I want to have I want to be successful, I want to make a difference in my customers' experience, and 100% commitment, yes, contact me. The best way to contact me is by email. It's office@my-name, rolandfriedl.com. It's ROLANDFRIEDL.com, rolandfriedl.com. Or you can go to my business website, which is quite a long one. It's called Spartner. Spartner, like sparring partner with double R, Spartner-performance.com. It's in German and in English. And then you will see all the offerings we have. But just contact me, send me emails. We can make a video conference, whatever. And let's take it from there. But as I said, 100% commitment.
Yes, fully committed. Don't waste the man's time. He's busy. So. All right. Thank you again, Roland. I just want to spotlight Diane Floyd-Boehm and Harry the Camel. It's a fabulous book, as well as the rest of the books that Diane has. So please do watch this sponsorship I'm going to be bringing up. We really do appreciate Diane. She's brought so many people to the channel. It's amazing. Here she is. She's an official VIP sponsor, Diane Floyd-Boehm. Let's take a look at one of her sponsorships, and then we will be back with our next show.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, Diane Boehm. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Diane Floyd-Boehm tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diane's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diane's little girl in the moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter. Its powerful theme that we're each of us different, yet all of us the same, plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diane's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diane's delightful books and much more at dianefloydboehm.com. Visit dianefloydboehm.com. That's dianefloydboehm.com.